Welcome to the new Overlords Podcast. I'm Max, and this is a video game show where I'm joined every week by the #1 podcaster on Kairos. It's Sema. Hello there, Sema.
What does it mean to be the #1? I want to be the #1 podcaster on Kairos.
Have you heard of Kairos? Of course you haven't, because it's been shrouded in mystery, and now the Borderlands Vault Hunters are going to have to assault it and take it back from the Timekeeper.
Well, there you go.
But
I'll be there. I'll be there to podcast it all.
It's filled with freaky, insane, psychopathic, weird Mad Max people, and they all love you, apparently. They voted you to the #1 podcaster. So you got that going for you, which is nice.
I'm glad they don't hate me.
We are definitely going to talk about Borderlands 4. Borderlands, is it the worst game ever? Or is it the best thing this month? It's certainly the only thing in the news right now, love it or hate it. I played it, and it's a very good game. So we'll definitely talk about those parts of it, and then we'll talk about what Randy Pitchford, with the words coming out of Randy Pitchford's pie hole that are causing drama, and what that's doing to everything. But first we do have some game news. Now, do we have game news? Let's see what we've got.
Good news, everyone.
It's a little light, but I did want to kind of do this anyway, and maybe we'll do this a little bit over the course of the next few weeks, is a catch up on what all the MMOs are doing, because I kind of lose track here and there and do want to keep jumping in. We've got Sema to keep us up to date on World of Warcraft. We both are pretty aware of what's going on with Star Wars: The Old Republic, but there's all the other, top good ones, and it'd be good to just remember that they've got updates coming out all the time, and sometimes that stuff gets buried. And it would be good to know if there's something fun to go check out, because you dip back into these old things like everybody has been doing with No Man's Sky lately, and there's just so much there. It's a shame that it sort of is like it's just an update and it doesn't make headlines and it's not a thing, when it could be some really fun stuff there. Anyway, on that note, the first news item that caught my eye, because there's not a lot of big news about ESO, but there was a nice article with an interview. And one of the things that really caught my eye about it that I thought it would be fun to think about in a couple of different ways is they kind of want to keep going for at least 20 more years, is what the game director describes. It's been 11 years so far, and the developers and the team are talking about like a 20-year roadmap. They want to make it a 30-plus year game. And I thought to myself, wow, is that good? It sounds good, or maybe it's not, and I don't know completely, and I didn't come to a conclusion on it. I thought it'd be fun to ask you about it, Sema. What do you think about it?
I think it's a good thing, because I think, like you, that there's a place. The gaming industry is big, and there's a place for super innovative games. There's a place for PvP games. There's a place for really twitchy FPS games, and there's a place for MMOs where it's just the thing that people like to go, and that's their jam. They go there and play.
Yep. Yes. I don't think it's a bad thing. The best part of it, if you're an ESO player, is having that vision for like a 20-year roadmap will make the next 6 months better. So that alone is
yes,
really
absolutely.
fun.
Having said that, though, I don't know that they're going to have an actual. No one should in the gaming industry should ever use the word roadmap again, because it's just
and I'm using roadmap. I don't think they even said roadmap anywhere in here. But
yeah, right. Oh, good.
I think they just said like we'd like to have it going for another 20 years.
Right. Like I would like to think that both WoW and Star Wars: The Old Republic have at least notes going out the next 5 or 10 years on where the story is going to go and what big features they might like to have, because some of these things take multiple years to implement.
They do.
So, and I don't think 10 years is that big of a stretch from 5 years.
No.
And 10 years would make WoW 30 years. Right?
10 years is a long time, though, too. 10 years.
Yeah.
This was it could be apocryphal that it was actually Bill Gates that said it, but I think it was Bill Gates that said it. He said, we overestimate what we can do we underestimate what we can do in 2 years. We overestimate what we'll do in 10. It's like you can get a lot done if you work hard at it, but when you start thinking 10 years
Yeah.
out, you might be thinking like, oh, brain interfaces and flying cars and rocket packs.
Right.
And that just doesn't
Right.
happen.
Right.
That's more in like the tech industry.
But
But
you definitely have to, if you're looking out 10 years, you definitely have to have a looser
Yeah.
view for the last 5 years of it because you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what might change. And I don't even mean technology changes. I mean like player base changes and what's popular in the culture changes.
yeah, will VR finally take off? No, but if it did, that 1% chance that it would be the thing that we're all doing 5 years from now, it could be quite different. And Forster has a winning comment there. So 20-year roadmap, that means it'll still be going on when Elder Scrolls 6 finally comes out. Yes, we are not going to see that for a long time. But as opposed to some of those other ongoing projects, I keep hearing trouble in Ashes of Creation land. We're not paying for it right now. So we're not having to pay for the development out of our pockets right now for Elder Scrolls 6. So we got that going for us, which is nice.
In 10 years, who knows, maybe we will have actual new overlords and they'll buy Microsoft and they'll change what ESO wants to do.
Yes, the AI singularity will happen, and the sentient AIs will pick it up and turn it into a training ground for the future of humanity.
And we'll finally have Housekeeper, like the one on the Jetsons.
Like the one on the Jetsons, which is the worst possible manifestation of a robot. Let's make it slow and tubby with really short arms and
an attitude
and just two pincer claws so it can't even like manipulate anything. It'll be great. All right. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on ESO. It does make me want to go back and play ESO. So that's just one of those top games that has always been good as an MMO. Another game that is a good game and has always been a good game that we spend a lot of time with ourselves, don't we, Sema, is Star Wars: The Old Republic. We finally,
yes, we do.
we're like 2 weeks now, 3 weeks into the latest Galactic season, which is sort of like their season battle pass, lasts a few months kind of thing. And each of them kind of get a theme where the last couple have been focused around a particular kind of content that they're sort of like directing you towards. It was bounty hunting, 2 of them go. Last one was this subclass of kind of like dungeony stuff they're called uprisings. They kind of just rolled it over into a new version of that, which picked up on flashpoints, which are the slightly longer versions of dungeons for this time around. What are you thinking of it now that you've got your legs, your robot legs under you, Sema, and the Star Wars: The Old Republic? What are you thinking of the whole Flashpoint deal? Because I know you weren't exactly looking forward to Flashpoints being the thing, and I wasn't that much either because it's old rehashed content. But
yeah, well, yeah.
But it's
and
new
for some
space
reason,
points that you get for doing it. So
in any game, the small group content is usually I mean, it's fine, but it's not. I don't like wake up in the morning going, want to do more dungeons. But so far it's been fun. And the way it's structured is the objective for the week is a particular flashpoint, which I don't know how I exactly envisioned it. But like this week it's Kadamimu, I think. And so I don't mind doing Kadamimu with my friends. And in fact, I kind of like that one because it's kind of what's the word? It's like it's crazy with that guy at the
chaotic.
end.
Oh yeah, keep firing. It's got it's a very minimal story that's almost just sort of told as you're going through it. There's sort of like a city manager, and it's
kind of unhinged. That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah,
and he's rebelling, and he keeps like broadcasting to his citizens to like gaslight them into thinking that there isn't an assault team coming in to like shut down the city.
Everything's fine.
He's like, pay no attention, my friends. Do not believe the lies of the Empire when they say that I will not be successful in my... The Advo's hegemony, isn't that him? No, or is that
Hegemony is something else.
Yeah.
Hegemony.
yeah,
I fought in the
Advo's-
war, you piece of trash, says Stask.
Yeah. I fought in the war, you piece of trash. Yeah, Advo's Hegemony is the other really good one, which I hope we get to do, which was the one that everyone did too much back in the day, which was Hammer Station. That's Advo's Hegemony. So yeah, it's fun to go back and pick some of those up. I could see and having a purpose to do it. So one of the reasons that I would agree with you that sometimes going back and doing, or even when it's new, going through and doing it once is fine, but it's usually the content you do on the way to the content that matters. It's not an end in and of itself, unless you do it how WoW does it, which is, Mythic Plus keys, which then turn it into something that I don't like because it's a ton of pressure and you can, ruin your outing, and yes, you'll get good rewards, but you can screw it up and people get really mad and stressed out and angry. Anyway.
Good conversation with Shrimp about Mythic Plus, because one of the features of Mythic Plus, which by the way, you do a dungeon and then you do it with they call it an affix, where something happens inside the dungeon to make it more difficult. Like they used to have one where every so often there would be a 5-second quake that stunned everyone for 5 seconds and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
to make it more challenging. Or there's like every time you kill an enemy, it makes a pool of poison that you have to walk around. But another feature of it is you have to kill X number of NPCs before you get to the end, or it doesn't count. So it's like, even if you could skip some trash, you can't skip the trash because it all counts towards getting to the 100% trash. So I was saying to Shrimp, why would I want to play a dungeon where it's even more trash?
And you have to do the trash. That's one of your least favorite things
Right.
after hexagons.
But he brought up a good point, which I get, is he said, but when you get higher difficulties and you add different affixes, and it kind of empowers different mobs in different ways, however the affixes sort of mix with their natural abilities, each trash pull is a strategy thing. And how do you do it fast enough, and who do you interrupt, and who do you CC, and who
Sure.
goes first, all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, cool, I get that, because that makes it interesting. Then it's not just mindless pew pew until you get to the boss.
Yeah, I don't hate that idea of the random elements, the random affixes, but isn't there? And I've never really done Mythic Pluses in any significant, but at the higher keys, isn't there like a time limit also?
Oh no, there's a time limit also. But what happens if you don't make the time limit is it just means your key doesn't get graduated. So like in a normal
but you
thing,
don't lose the key.
You don't lose. No, well, the person's whose key you used. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you kind of like break.
But
you burn your key.
You still get loot though.
Yeah, you get loot for that run, but you don't get your key graduated. So there's just like an extra like pressure element.
It's pressure. Like I don't pug them, but I don't pug much.
Oh, it goes down a level? Okay, well, I mean, that's not terrible.
Right, but nobody wants to donate their key to a pug when they might lose their cool key.
Right.
That becomes less cool.
Because you have to keep ranking it up. So you have to do the thing like 14 times before it becomes really, really, really good. And for it to go back down a level, for you to go back from 12 back down to 11 when you were supposed to be up to 13 for this run.
Right. You're trying to make
annoying.
It 15 because like there's the cool achievements are do it at 10 and then do it at 15 and then yeah, I'm
out.
Right. It is stressful, except
if do it at 1 was the end, then I would maybe do it.
I mean, I've been really lucky this season because Shrimp has decided that we all need to do Mythic Plus, and so on Wednesday night, so tonight, we'll probably run a Mythic Dungeon or 2. But it's different because I get to run now with people who are friendly to me and know me, and they all know the dungeon and how to do the affixes.
Yeah.
They know the boss fights and everything. And it's a fun experience then.
Which
it's way more fun than just a normal version of the of the dungeon in that. And so if you're a little bit more thick-skinned and you're running with a pug, I can see where you might like it, but at the same time, I think most of the people who run Mythic Pluses out there in pugs are just doing the Mythic Pluses for the reasons that they need them to get them done for, like crests or whatever, which that's the currency for upgrading your gear.
Which brings us back to how we're doing them in Star Wars: The Old Republic and how it's kind of turning out okay, although it's a little bit extra. We've added kind of like another group night with our core ops team, which we run on Thursdays. We're all getting together for like, and sometimes it's short, sometimes it's only like 45 minutes on Friday. But last Friday was like 3 hours. I don't know what we were doing, but for fun to do this extra objective. And as you say, doing it with friends, doing it with people that know how to do it and are fine with rolling with it and making it fun, just makes it, it could be anything in the game at that point.
And in Star Wars: The Old Republic, the flashpoints, which is what they call their dungeons, they are easy. You don't have to pay hyper attention to be successful or even know them ahead of time to be successful. Right. So it's more of a party time to run them.
Yes,
which is good for us if we're doing it in a group. But if you're doing it from the group finder or with a pug, then it's just a chore. I feel like, because it's not challenging. You don't, but at the same time, nobody says anything because it's a group finder.
And everybody's trying to go as fast as possible, and everybody's got a different strategy for going faster and going off in 4 different directions. And
I do take it back. There is some pressure to know the dungeon because you have to know the skips, because otherwise you get left behind if you're doing a pug. Yeah.
One other thing that they've added in Star Wars: The Old Republic that I finally took a look at is a new login reward for subscribers. You get up to 4 per week of these new subscriber tokens. So if you log in 4 days during the week, at the end of the week, you'll get your 4 tokens up to 4.
I think it's 6 tokens.
6? Is it 6?
Yeah.
You log in 4 times and you get 6 tokens?
Yeah.
How does that? What if I log in 1 time? Do I get
one
point?
I think maybe you get none.
You have to log in all 4 times to get any?
I think so.
Oh, bummer. Whatever. Okay.
I mean, Stask and Lucy can chime in there.
6 tokens for logging in 4 days during the week, and you get. I thought it was like you get like 1 a day up to 4 up to the total.
No.
So if you don't, which I do pretty much anyway, I guess I'm always logging in on Tuesday, Thursday, and then at least 1 other day on the weekend, and now Fridays. At least logging in. Yes, thanks, Stask. You thought wrong.
So, it's mirrors it has always been that if you log in 4 times in a week, you get 8 Galactic Seasons points.
Yes.
So,
which I think I've also been ignoring, but that's okay because I saw that in there when I was looking for the tokens. I'm like, 8 season points. What is that for? And what do you mean?
Right.
Lucy's saying you have to claim them? Is there a claim?
Yes.
So if I didn't claim mine from last week, did I not get them?
They're in the mail.
Okay.
If you did,
in the mail.
you just gotta think back to whatever the first character was you logged in this week.
And then use your eyeballs to search all the mailboxes before it expires. Although it expires in 30 days, it could take me 30 days to log into all my characters.
Right. But if you do that, then it's legacy wide. But the thing, and this is what I had to go through this week, but the thing to do is to claim them before the week is out.
So it's a legacy wide reward, and you have to go to a single character, then it's sitting in their mailbox. Why did it just apply it to the legacy currency?
Okay. All right. They do. It's just that you have to claim it from the interface. It's just that once the new week starts, the new counter starts, so you can't claim it from the that's the only case where it goes to the mail.
That's what I'm saying. But at the end of the week, why don't they just credit you? So I would just log in and notice that I had +6.
I thought that's what it was going to be. That's why I had to get mine in the mail.
Okay. Well,
I was wrong.
I'm sure mine are sitting somewhere in the mail too, because I had no idea, and now I'm learning this. Anyway, there's a vendor associated with this. And they gave us a mount. They gave every subscriber a mount, which is actually a pretty cool mount. It's this one that I've got up on the screen. Here's the live version of it. It's one of the new mounts where both your companion and the pet you have out have a seat on the mount. Your companion rides in the back. It's almost like a little pickup truck, and has a gun, like a turret that they're manning. And if you use the extra action button, your companion's shooting this gun, so that's cool. And then whatever pet you have out, ground pets only, but your ground pet will ride next to you on a little spot for it to hang out. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Pretty cool.
What is this Cthulhu, little Cthulhu monster pet?
Yeah, what pet is that?
Why did they pick that to showcase this?
That's what we ran around on the fleet this week. Everyone got out vehicles where you could put your pet and your companion on. And then we rode around on the fleet with all our pets and companions.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. Sema's end of fun night activity where everyone gets on a mount and does a couple laps on the fleet so that people can see how cool Alea Act S is. And
these dummies.
Look at these guys.
Oh, I need to go.
There's a fair amount of role players on our server.
Yeah,
and
there are.
If you go around the center of the fleet in particular, you'll see them like they stand still because they're like chatting or talking. So they stand still either like down below or at the railing. They're mostly like standing at the railing looking into the center of the fleet map there. And you'll see just a bunch of people, just like their characters, like 2 or 3 people side by side, just standing there. They're role playing. That's what they're doing. Wonder if you could tap into that chat.
There's role playing and there's role playing. Like the way we role play is we use like 1 or 2 emotes in an evening. But role players with a capital R, they're like long multi-clause sentences, sometimes way too many clauses.
And they have roles that they assume for long periods of time, and they come back and they'll be like a Sith Lord and apprentices, and they have to like play their part over. I've seen some of them do it. Some of them have like been doing it in like /say. You can like hear what they're saying, and it's fine. It's good. It's fine.
Yeah. I wonder if that's true. Is that really true? Gail's saying that we come barging through
our log mounts.
No. She's talking about logs. Their logs then of the role play interactions.
Oh, but blasting. No, I think they.
Oh no, maybe she does mean the log mounts.
The log mounts.
We haven't done. That's going to take some planning because I think I only have log mounts on 1 character.
So if you don't know what that is,
okay,
the log
thank
mount.
goodness. Because for a second I thought, well, I hope we're not interfering.
They could set up a private chat channel if they really had a problem with people speaking amongst their.
It is the fleet after all. It can't be the other.
Avast, my good sir! You are the evilest of Sith Lords I have ever seen. That's what they say. The log mount is this awesome mount. I know. I'm a great role player. Good, hail and well met, Sith Lord, Jedi. I am a Jedi. Good day to you. See? That was great. The log mount. There's a character in the game that has been reused a couple times. His name is Kai Zyken, and he's kind of a scammer character. And one of the rewards we got was a special mount reward from Kai Zyken. And it's basically a log with 2 like hover engines duct taped to the back of it. And it does this thing where it goes pretty slow, and sometimes the engines will like spark and it'll go like slower than walking speed, and people will be like walking past you while you're on this long log, like you're on like a speeder bike. You're just sitting on this log with 2 engines strapped to the back. It was amazing when they put that in. It's a great joke. But yes, if you then ride your log mounts, it's actually a really fun race. Because of the variability of the engines cutting out, it's not constant across everyone's mounts. It's random. So it could give you kind of that blue shell effect of log mount racing where the person who was in the lead is suddenly no longer in the lead. We should do that. We should do a log mount race again. Fun. Okay, did you see anything on the vendor for this just before we wrap up on it that you said, boy, I'm so glad I'm logging in 4 days a week to get this thing? Because I kind of didn't, but
I guess the
not
thing
bad.
that people talk about the most on the vendor is the presence of those ricotta gear pieces. So it's one way. I mean, these login tokens, by the way, is a temporary event. It goes from September to December. So you got to think about how to spend your tokens because you could easily use them up buying these ricotta pieces. And then you would have geared up one character, but do you really want to buy that instead of, I don't know, some of the ones on the list are actually you can unlock. So it seems like it's automatically a better deal. And by unlock, that means you can make them available to all your other characters.
And and some of them are already available. So it's just another way to get something that you might have missed out on before, because I'd say at least a third of the pets already unlocked on my character.
Right. And I miss that there were emotes. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, there's a few emotes, some toys, some pets, getting
like
armor.
I wouldn't spend these tokens on the materials, for instance, like the
Right.
crafting materials necessarily. The leveling gear box, the best I can tell, is it has 5 pieces of armor in it based on the level and the discipline that you are, the discipline being sort of like your spec.
When you open it, whatever character you have, open it.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's leveling gear that's going to level up when you level up.
Right,
It's
not
just
like the WoW Legacy leveling gear, which
the
which was really cool.
Yeah. Right. So this is like a snapshot in time of your
Right.
character.
It's just, in fact, that's a complete waste. Don't do that because you'll outlevel that gear in 5 minutes of gameplay.
Right. And then also these experience things, the class mission for sure. The class mission, any leveling experience, I would not spend tokens on either because that's too easy to get just with credits.
Right. And you'll outlevel if you use no experience boost, you don't need it in this game.
Right.
The leveling experience is fast, and a lot of people think it's too fast. So don't get the materials, don't get the experience boost. I would argue don't get any of the gear, even the 340 ricotta pieces, because that's the point of playing the game. You just go get the ricotta pieces. You're going to get them eventually anyway, just by playing. So,
I mean, if you do ops, you will.
You can get ricotta just by upgrade. It would take you a year, but you can upgrade your lower level tokens all the way up to ricotta tokens.
I mean, your lower level operations tokens.
I thought there was a way to even take, like, if you take 100 of the flashpoint tokens and turn them into a operation token. But I might be wrong.
I mean, I've had max level ricotta for 2 years, so I don't pay attention when they say things like that, right? So I could be wrong. And also, flashpoints, like we've established, isn't where I hang out. But, yeah. But I don't know. I kind of like the appeal of buying these 340 ricotta pieces because, and I know I get your wisdom here because other people have said it too. But you can buy ricotta pieces for, I don't know, what's the currency that you use to buy ricotta pieces? But anyway, those are 324, so you have to upgrade them.
It's a lot
multiple
of work.
times to get a 340, and the way you update them is by running operations. So, I see the appeal.
I need a list, and I'm sure someone has it somewhere, of which of these rewards are unique. In fact, I think none of them may be, unless these droid customization, ship droid customizations are specific to the event. Because that would be the real thing.
Emote.
If it's something new that hasn't been here before and you've got an opportunity to get something new and interesting, That's what I would go after myself.
Like, what's that little droid or flying robot-y looking
I
thing?
think I have that. It's a small model of one of the Manon submersible
Oh, yeah.
ships in the
I want
ESO
that.
Manon.
Yeah. Oh, and there's the Cthulhu pet that they.
There's the Cthulhu face. Hey, little Cthulhu face. How are you?
So cute.
Okay. So that is it for news today. So, yes, it was newsy news. We did have our list of coming soon. Jump Space is coming in just a couple days, 2 days. So, what? It's coming on Friday. I have to see if anyone is going to be around or want to play Jump Space this weekend. That would be fun. I think we'll have to have some people buy it. But that's that. Wildgate, is that the Overwatch in space? Jump Space is the PvE version of Wildgate that I'm pretty excited to play, where you have to manage both the ship, keep the ship running. There's one of your team members has to be the pilot. Other people might be manning guns. Other people might be running around putting out fires. And then you also need to be like jumping out into space and assaulting and boarding the enemy ships out in space, etc. Looks pretty cool. I put on the list Legion Remix, October 7th. Tell me, Sema, because I know this is a big debate, isn't it? Are you going to be
Yeah.
playing Legion Remix? Is Shrimp in the chat room? We have to
So-
find out. I'm going to tell him whatever you. I'm going to send him the clip. Somebody clip this and send this to Shrimp, whatever Sema says.
So for those of you who may not know, Remix is this wild and crazy thing that WoW does where they did it last year for Pandaria, so Mists of Pandaria Remix, and in that it's an opportunity to level a character from, wherever you start. Some characters start at 10, some start at 0, but anyway, that up to max level with in like blazing fast, in a blazing fast manner, and you play in like a copy of that thing. So you're not, nobody from the actual World of Warcraft is in your space. It's just everyone playing this weird version of the game. You're sort of overpowered. Things work a little bit differently. You get a chance, like in Pandaria, you were able to earn currency and then buy the mounts that drop from the world bosses, which was awesome because those were world bosses that I've been killing, off and on for my whole WoW life, trying to get the mounts from, and now I have them.
Exactly.
And that was from
which is fun.
And that was from Remix. Legion's a little bit different because Legion had the order halls, Legion had the artifacts, Legion had the mage tower, so they had to make a lot of decisions about how they're gonna handle all that. Not all the decisions have been met with universal acclaim. I don't know how that's all gonna work out. And plus, me personally, I don't have any like long sought after mounts on my list that were in the Legion X pack, so
What about pets?
I don't have. So here's the thing, though. Yes, here's the thing. There are pets in Legion Remix that I don't have. So I need to at least get the pets. And there's mounts that I don't have that are from vendors too that I need to get. There's
Okay.
one. Do you remember that mount from Legion that looked like it's just made up of a bunch of different like partially digested people?
No.
You can get that one.
Okay. No, I
Don't know if I want it.
Lots of mounts. So I've got a video here that's showing like all the different mounts that you can go get, but I don't see one that looks like parts of people. Wasn't there like a brain one that was really hard to get?
Yeah, that one I have. The hive mind. That you actually had to do as a party. That was pretty fun.
Oh, like this? I had to really go back. A bunch of heads coming out of this dog thing?
Yeah.
Whatever that is. Reigns of Ghastly Urzul.
Oh.
Great. Cool. I don't
Well, they
need
look
that.
happy.
They are all smiling, all of the heads.
Yeah.
So there's that. But it's an evil smile. So you're saying you're not going to play Remix except for all the parts that you're going to play so that you can get all of the pets and mounts that you actually did want.
So Lisa said that Shrimp has challenged me to play a Blood Elf Havoc Demon Hunter in Legion. That's a funny idea. I don't even really know what Elite Demon Hunter does, actually.
I leveled
They
up a Demon Hunter at one point.
they jump around a lot.
Jump around, yeah, get to do the double jump, and that was fun. I think I yelled parkour every time that I jumped.
I know they use warglaives or glaives.
Yes, which was a kind of a fun weapon to have something new at the time. I do remember that. If nothing's going on, which very rarely happens, I've been wanting an excuse to get back into just doing a little bit of more of World of Warcraft. Legion Remix might be a thing for me to go do.
Yeah.
But probably not. There's not a lot coming between now and then, though. There's not a lot of big releases coming out in the next few weeks, so maybe I will. We can talk about it too. We can chat.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it. Is like if you have a hole in your alt lineup and you're like, oh, I wish I would have, I wish I had a leveled up this or that. You can buy a boost, or you can level one up, or you can level it up in Remix. Because at the end of Remix, you can copy that character over to retail, as long as you've been in Remix at least for 24 hours.
One of the people that we know, Geek Freak, DM'd me and said, you should try Planet Crafter. So there's also like all those survival games that I've kind of not ever gotten around to that have been in my backlog. Those are calling my name too. So there might be some real fun things to go after since we've got this lull to get back to and play. Later on in October, we will get Plants vs. Zombies. That won't be a big thing, but I'm sure I'll play it. Or maybe I'll just play the copy that's installed on my phone. That's probably what I'll do. And then I am interested in and waiting for, on the 29th, Outer Worlds 2. And, Forster reminded us that Hades 2 is coming out on the 25th. So that's fun. So new things still are coming, but it's a little bit of a lull. And I think then as we get towards the November-ish timeframe, we'll get the bigger burst of the holiday releases. That'll be fun. Like the Grinch holiday fun time game that is coming out in October or November. And I did not put it on the list because
Are you going to play it?
No, I think it's Switch only, unfortunately. Otherwise.
Maybe I'll just watch the Grinch.
Grinch Christmas holiday fun time game.
Or even better, just read the book, because that only takes a few minutes.
The Jim Carrey version of the Grinch is very good. It was very well done. It was a Ron Howard joint, and he did it so well. The Who's in particular were just so well done, turned into real people.
That's good to get that recommendation.
This podcast is brought to you by Garden and a Goat, the upcoming game from Contemplation Games. I've spent the last 4 days rewriting a whole bunch of stuff. Took this opportunity, as everyone wants to do when they do a creative project. When you get to the end, or at this point halfway through, you might go back and look at it and say, oh, if I started over, I would do this differently.
Yes,
I took a big opportunity to do that right now. And I was trying to think of what the analogy is for what I'm doing. I'm changing the way our data access works. And it's like if you wrote a novel and every place you have the word is in the novel, you decided that it has to get changed to can't be. And then in order to do that, and you could do it, so that guy is the murderer. That guy can't be not the murderer. So you could go back through and restructure every sentence so it sounds right, changing is to can't be in every single place. That's what I've been doing for about 4 days straight, morning till night. Every place we do any kind of data access, which is everywhere, I've been just redoing it all. It's going to come out so much better in the end. Right now, nothing will be different. It'll run exactly the same as it did before, but it was a kind of a brittle system is the way we're doing IDs for how our data worked, and it'll be much better. It'll be better. So that's what I've been doing. We will also, though, if people are following along, we're going to be showing off some new things in our Discord. Julia's been working on a whole bunch of new decos. In fact, we've got some feedback from our Alpha 2, and one of the things that one of our testers requested specifically is already designed and ready to be shown off.
Was it me?
It was you. You said you wanted.
I'm excited.
You wanted paths, like
yeah,
be able to make paths. We already
Right.
have a couple different kinds of stepping stone paths that you'll be able to put together and lay out.
Nice. Oh, stepping stone sounds
Yeah,
awesome.
little garden stepping stones, because those are kind of like easy
Yeah.
to implement and easy just to drop, and you can place them anywhere and that
Right.
kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah, I saw your comment on that. I saw your feedback, and I was like, oh yeah, cool. I like it. I like it when it's already done. When the
Right?
when the feature
I can
request is
imagine.
already done.
That must be a good feeling.
That's the better one than, you know what you guys should do? Is guys should turn this into a battle royale. I'm like, can't do that.
Sorry.
Yeah. They didn't listen to any of our feedback. We're not going to turn it into a battle royale. I can't do that.
I told them. They didn't listen.
Anyway, this podcast is also brought to you by Alea Iacta Est. That's the gaming community that Sema and I play in quite a bit. AIE-guild.org if you want to jump in the Discord and join us in Star Wars: The Old Republic. It's also brought to you by all of you out there watching, listening, and everybody in the chat room right now. Thanks so much. Good group in the chat room tonight, shooting comments our way, telling us release dates for Hades 2 and what Shrimp says that Sema has to do in World of Warcraft. Thank you very much. But now we get to talk about fun and drama. Listen to this guy, Sema.
Help! I'm being silenced! Fine! See how you do without me!
And that's when you turn the volume down on Claptrap.
So that is Claptrap. Claptrap is an iconic Borderlands character. It's been around for a long time. And yes, I was telling Sema, the way it works is Claptrap's annoying. He's supposed to be annoying. He's designed to be annoying. He's this really annoying little robot. He's still a fun little intro, even in Borderlands 4. It's fun when you first meet him again on the beach with your character, whichever it is. Anyway, he's so annoying. What they've done is, fine, you want to turn down the volume? There's a volume slider and a mute just for Claptrap's voice. It's its own in the audio settings. However, when you start turning it down, he has voice lines, and he keeps saying like, well fine. Just go ahead.
You'll be sorry.
Yeah, you'll be sorry if
You'll miss me.
Oh, wait. And as it gets softer and softer, he's like, well, at least I talk with my hands. And then if you turn it back up, he's like, oh, freedom. I'm unleashed upon the world again. I thought that was a very clever bit of settings humor that they had going on there. Borderlands. I almost didn't do this, but my eyes were glazing over doing too much game dev over the weekend, and I decided to take a break. I was going to jump in and actually play Borderlands because I'd actually never played a significant amount. I think I've done a little bit of demo in the past, but any of the past Borderlands, I've watched them quite a bit. I've looked at the art. Because that's been the most fascinating part to me is always the art and the design. It's been great. It's a looter shooter. So I think I was playing tons of MMOs back when, Borderlands 2 and 3 were big. Borderlands 1. Finally got a chance to play it. Definitely liking what I'm playing. I would say I like it. It's kind of on the same order of Doom, the new Doom game, and I like that. And I would say I like it a little bit more than Doom, although both of them have pros and cons. I think the frenetic shooting and combat of Doom really flows really fun and well, and the way you use the shield and the way that kind of works. However, Borderlands has a lot more going for it in terms of story and character and the rich stylistic fun of the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's also quite a bit more open world. That's a difference with Borderlands 4 that they didn't have in the past. So you can ride around on the map on your mount. You have a glider ability that you unlock relatively early. And you can go back and forth between these different places to find extra treasures and assault different locations and find vaults to go explore. And unlocking all of that side stuff can be just as fun as doing the main path in the game. So that's something new too, and that's a difference from what Doom was doing. I like it. I think it's a very good game in general. So I'll talk about that. I'll talk about the art style, which I definitely love, and it's always fascinated me. What do I have? What are my sections? What do you want to hear about first? I've got story, the controls, how that worked, the kind of a little bit of the classes and how they leveled up, and then we have the drama.
I first want to echo what you said about the art style. I love that it's on the unique side. I mean, it's not the only cell shaded game, but I mean, it is really, really fun to look at.
Yes.
But the other thing is, how do you, as a player, how do you make decisions when there's like clearly a main quest line that's driving you to the end of the story or the end of the game or whatever? How do you deal with going to the side and doing other things? Like I feel personally like I feel like that this is I tend to go straight line all the way to the end and then come back and start to do the side stuff. But I don't feel that's a good solution because I get all the way to the end and I'm not motivated to do the side stuff. And I miss out. I feel
that's a really good question for anyone. And I think you might go back and forth on it. In MMOs, I'm definitely with sort of like the strategy you just described, which is I need to get to the end. I want to get to the end. I want to level up the character. So I'll ignore a bunch of the side stuff so that I can get through the story. I can get to the character because that unlocks a whole bunch of things. Because MMOs in particular are a lot about the end game, right?
Yeah.
It's the operations and dungeons that you're going to be doing with your friends. In a single player game, sometimes I think that way. And often the moment to moment decision is kind of gated on how much do I like the game and what do I want to play next? Because if I want to play something next, I might kind of mainline the story so that I can see more of the story. I can unlock more of the areas. I can just sort of see what it's doing and experience it. If I really like the game though, and I want to like live in that world for a while, I'll get lost in the side and the exploration.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like something like Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Skyrim, I don't think I've played hundreds of hours of Skyrim. I don't think I've ever actually finished. I don't know what the end of Skyrim is. I don't think I've ever finished Skyrim because I just do all the side things and do side things for forever. Why not? I just want to live in that world. I don't want to like end the story. It's almost like when you read a novel, and if it's a really, really good novel, you ever get to
you
the
don't want
end
it
of
to
it?
end.
Yeah, you get to the end and you're sad that your adventure is over.
Yeah. Really, that's a great analogy, or even like a really good show when you get to the end of the show. It's like it's not like it doesn't make me want to go and watch like spinoffs or prequels or whatever. I just wish I was in more of that show.
Right. And what if there were like more side episodes that you could do along the way? If you really like the show and they were kind of like part of the content along the way.
Can you imagine branching TV show?
You know, back in the day when TV shows were made, back in the late 20th century, the late 1900s, when we used to watch TV, it would be 21 episode seasons. Now the seasons are like 8 episodes.
Right.
And in the 21 episode seasons, you would have throwaway episodes all the time.
Yeah.
And
you would.
Why not? If I'm
and there'd be 1 or 2 montage episodes that were just like
right, or the musical episode where they all sing for the whole thing, or the Star Trek episode where it's all on the holodeck and the Abraham Lincoln is there. Why is Abraham Lincoln here? I don't know, but we're gonna do a whole episode where we're hanging out with Abraham Lincoln. Like, it's not pushing the story forward, but you got 21 episodes to fill. Sure, we'll do it. That's what they should do. So Severance should have the side episodes where you don't have to watch those episodes. But have the 8 core episodes and then have the side episode that's like what if Michael Scott from The Office showed up on Severance, which I just saw an Instagram reel where somebody cut him into episodes of Severance. Sure.
Oh, that's a funny idea.
So sure, dude, let's do that as the side ones to extend that experience. Now they can't do that because it's budget. That's the main problem. Why they do that? Don't do that. But
speaking of Star Trek, I mean, have you seen Lower Decks?
I have not.
I think you would love it. It's animated, but it's and it's Star Trek in the Star Trek family, but it's also like a spoof of Star Trek. And yeah.
Right. Which, what was the version that was done? The side show that was basically a spoof of Star Trek. What's his name from who did creator of Family Guy? I'm just have no words. But that one was kind of good. Doing it from within, self-reflective humor from within the Star Trek universe, I think is a clever idea, and I know it's supposed to be pretty good. But yeah.
Yeah.
So there's my answer.
But they have an episode where they discover that if you have a really tricky peace treaty to negotiate, it always works to take them to the holodeck and everybody becomes Mark Twain.
Right. Everyone becomes Mark Twain.
Right.
They're all Mark Twain. Exactly. So what did I do with Borderlands? I kind of mainlined it. I didn't play all that long so far. In fact, it was relatively short. I only played one night, so I played about 3 or 4 hours that one afternoon and evening and had a lot of fun, but that's not a lot of time. For this and for Doom, I mainlined it because I wanted to get to the next area, see the next thing, feel with the new guns and new weapons. And I did not do a lot of exploration or side quests or achievement hunting or relic hunting, collectibles. There's all that kind of stuff. Doom had a lot of that. You could find all these collectibles. So I didn't do any of that. Story was kind of fun. It was actually I think it was a really well done, well structured intro. There's 2 parts of the intro. One is a full on movie style cinematic that reminds me of a cross between Suicide Squad, the kind of the intro to Guardians of the Galaxy, the sort of the first, 10% of Guardians of the Galaxy where they get arrested and they sort of putting the team together. There's elements of that. It's all in cinematic, but it's sort of the iconic music playing, and it's raucous and rock and these Mad Max freaky zombie guys who roam the worlds, these psychos. You're getting splattered all over the place, so you get to get the feel of it. And along the way, while it's doing that, it's introducing the 4 main characters, which are the characters you pick. So when you start the game, you get past the intro cinematic, you need to pick your class basically. And your class is a person. So if you want the tanky class, you're picking the you get a shield and you get melee weapons and you're jumping in, and I forgot what his name is, but you're picking the tanky class. And everybody has guns too, but you have these extra abilities. But he's a guy, and you get to see him in action a little bit in sort of the intro cinematic. And as part of the intro cinematic, each one of the 4 characters gets a moment to shine where they actually show off their abilities in action. And it's very stylized and cinematic, but right away you can see them do their thing in a really fun trailer style and say, "Ooh, I want to be that, stabby techno guy," or "I want to be, she's got a pet throwing magic balls around and energy weapons and a pet that chases her around and helps her out. I want to be her." Being able to introduce the characters that way and not have to read, well, here's the abilities of Mr. Paladin dude. Here's Vex, and she has these 4 abilities. Study this ability tree for a while and decide if you want to play this class. I think this was a brilliant way to introduce it.
I like the sound of that, because my eyes just glaze over when I look at ability trees, really.
Right. So that is cool. Imagine in World of Warcraft if there was a hunter, a warrior, a mage, and a priest, and they all, in a cutscene, and they all ran into a battle, and then they each one it focused in on each one of them, and the hunter sends his pet in and does a misdirect to the warrior and just rains down hail of fire. And then it switches over to the warrior, and the warrior taunts the guy, and I think that's just such a clever way to do it, and it really flowed. It didn't seem like something that I just wanted to skip. because it was fun intro to the world too, I was into it. So that was great. Goes immediately then into the character select screen. You can look at their abilities in the character select screen as well and read if you want, but I was elected to lead, not to read. So I picked Vex, the shooty pet hunt, sort of like a hunter class. And everyone gets basically 3 trees, and each of the trees change what you can do as you sort of your one key main ability. So there's really only one big ability that you're unleashing on the world. So for Vex, you can have the pet be a main ability. You can have like a clone. You can like clone yourself as a main ability. Or I forgot what the third one was. I think it was like transform yourself and give yourself wings and fly around for a minute or something. I like the idea of the pet. It's sort of like this big panther, glowing holographic panther pet. Runs out into the world and does a little bit of tanking, like a little bit of taunt and a little bit of tank. And for me, especially when I'm kind of like new to how everything works, that was really useful. So I picked that right away. I'm like, oh, give me that. Everybody's got guns though too. So then you sort of like see what the rest of the ability tree does, and a lot of it is makes your guns shoot. You shoot more. You can shoot more things. But there's a lot of synergy between the different abilities and your main ability and that kind of thing. So I picked her, and then you get dumped into the game, and the rest of the story, the intro story, happens, which is
whoa, that is quite a sword on that boss.
Yeah, good bosses too. We'll talk about the boss fights. But the intro sort of tutorial level to the game is in the cinematic, at the end of the cinematic, all 4 of the main characters, they get locked in prison. And it's kind of like that Guardians of the Galaxy where they're getting their mugshots taken. When you pick which one you're going to be, the jailer comes out and says, you come this way. And then you get the intro to the bad guy, who's the timekeeper. And he says, he puts like a mind control thing on you. And then a rebel breaks down the wall and you get introduced to Aaron. It doesn't really matter what his name is because spoilers, he doesn't join you for too long.
He's the red shirt.
Kind of. But he's a really nice guy for your whole intro level. Anyway, he breaks down the wall and he says, "Oh, come this way. I'm gonna break you out, and we'll jam the tracking thing, the mind control. We'll fix you up." You follow him around, and that's a really fun way to do the intro as well. Then it's like press this button to jump. So you learn those kinds of things. Press R to reload. Okay, now shoot the enemy. And he's like giving you things along the way. He drops a health pack. He says, "Okay, now use the health pack." All of this is happening in kind of like a rapid story that's going on. So it didn't feel like a bad intro tutorial level where it was really boring. So I thought that was really well done. And that whole intro tutorial level with your little buddy culminates in the first intro boss fight of the game where you're fighting the jailer dude. And by that point, I had leveled up at least once and gotten my cat. And my cat basically helped just nuke that fight I got about halfway through the fight. And I think I killed enough ads halfway. And I don't know if it was designed this way, but the first half of the fight, I was like doing work. I had because ads are spawning and the boss is like flying around and you got to like duck behind boxes and you're shooting. And then I leveled up and then the thing says, "Okay, press tab now and allocate your point." And I allocated the point to get me my little cat, and the cat comes out and then the cat just tears up the boss kind of the rest of the way. I was like shooting ads and I like peeked around the corner and the cat is like standing over a big pile of loot. I'm like, what did you do?
Good cat.
Good boy. And the cat like swipes it off the table and onto the floor. Good animations on the cat too. It does. Our special animation for our cat that we added in our game was where the snow leopard rolls around on its back. And this cat kind of does an animation like that. And I felt like Fine. Good for you. You stole our animation. But it is good. It's good animations on the cat.
They've been sending drones over your workshop.
I guess they sent drones. They probably developed theirs 2 years ago. So I
And
can't
plus, nobody would
really,
think of that for a cat.
exactly. So I can't really complain too much because someone could claim we stole it from them, but we did not. Anyway, it's very good. All of that then leads into the world starts to open up. And then the final bit of story that you get is it's not the final bit, but final bit of kind of intro is at the end of that, a cutscene happens, you get like knocked off and you wash up on a beach and there's Claptrap. So you then get more into the open world and you can go and hang out and go do some things. Claptrap is sort of puts you on a mission right away, and you want to do that right away because it's going to get you your glider and unlock your first kind of base. So it's kind of a little bit more of an intro as well, but you are in the open world, and this is where you can start to do the side things and things start to open up quite a bit more. So yeah.
Is there any like gathering or crafting?
No, not crafting. Looter shooter. So you're picking up junk on the ground all the time. You know, I'm not positive. I'm picking up materials quite a bit, but it's not like survival crafting. I think maybe they're upgrade materials.
Mm-hmm.
Picking up a crap load of materials. In fact, I'm picking up enough junk that my inventory was immediately full. And I had to like drop stuff on my ground. Once you open your first base or you find these vending machines out in the world, you can sell the stuff that you have. And maybe I missed a vending machine, but before I even got the first base open, there's at least 3 times where I had to open my inventory and pick 3 or 4 things to drop on the ground and throw away that I couldn't even like vendor. And
I have mixed feelings about that because I want there to be things of value that you have to pick up, but I also don't want. I want inventory to be manageable, not unmanageable.
I like to pick up everything, especially since
Yeah.
I have no idea what's valuable,
Right.
which is the other thing that I imagine learn, but there's a couple different kinds of guns. I liked the pistol. I like the feel of the pistol, but there's like a semi-automatic or like a 6-shooter. Kind of got used to sort of the shorter shots, the 6-shooter. However, a new weapon would drop, and I basically had to rely on, unless I wanted to like open a video, I had to rely on, they do have a little like, what's the total DPS? And if the number was bigger, I switched to that weapon. That's
Right.
all I did. And that didn't feel
And where do you
great because
where
I
do you
didn't
get ammo?
exactly
Do you
know
just
why.
find it?
It's all over the ground. Yeah. So it's one of
Okay.
those games where you do run out of ammo, but the ammo is everywhere. There's 3 difficulty levels. I was playing on the middle one. So maybe on the hard one, you would be using up a lot more of that ammo and you would have the potential of running out. I never even came close to running out of ammo though, at least this early. So
Gotcha.
I didn't like the inventory management early. Maybe I would get more used to it. I didn't know, though, also was another thing I would need to learn, which is what is money for? Maybe I don't care about money at all. And then I would only be picking up the purple and the gold items on the ground and leaving everything else, which it seems like if you watch videos of people, that's kind of what they do. So maybe that's part of it too. Maybe it's not designed to want to pick up anything at all and it doesn't matter and money doesn't matter. Although I did die at one point, and there's a potential ability for when you get downed to not have to give up. You can like fight for your life. And I pressed the wrong fight for your life button, which was the give up button. So I ended up giving up, and that cost me a lot of money when I gave up. They like took some of my money away. So what if you have no money? Do you then are you permanently dead?
Permadeath.
That's weird. I don't know, but maybe that's what you need money for, is to respawn more often or better, or have a better options for respawn. I don't know. It took a lot of money when I respawned. It said resurrection cost this much money. It was like half my money. What the hell, man? Anyway, so that didn't feel great, but the shooting felt pretty good. very forgiving. You like shoot. I'm kind of just like shooting in the general direction because it was early in the gameplay and I didn't have all the controls, all that comfortable of the controls. So I'm just like shooting towards the guy. And I tend to, until I get used to how everything works, I tend to run away a lot, or I'm backpedal like when I'm shooting. So I'm shooting from very far away and it was pretty forgiving. It felt good. I could still hit dudes from far away, and my cats were off running around chomping on people. So that was fine. That felt good. I liked that it was not some where I had to be pixel perfect with my shots, because you're supposed to shoot like 1,000 of these guys as you're running around. If I had to work hard for every shot, I would get really annoyed. So it's the right balance from that perspective too. There are a bunch of buttons, and I will have to rebind my mouse buttons more, because there's a button for your grenade. There's a button to make your cat do its main ability. There's a button for reload. There's a button for grapple, to grapple onto things. There's jump and glide. There's WASD for moving around and strafing. So there's control for crouch and slide. So you might have to be like WWW control, W control, F, G, fire with the mouse buttons, right mouse button, left mouse button, G for another grenade. It was a lot of keys to figure out and potentially rebind. So that was only okay. And once it's all rebound, or maybe playing on a controller, it would feel a lot better. It was, I don't necessarily want it to be any less though, because one of the other things that people said was you have very few abilities. I kind of like more abilities, but I would put them on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which I could probably rebind to these things. It still felt fine. I would just need to do some work there from controls perspective. Otherwise, movement felt pretty good. It's all first person. There's no third person, except when you're like on your speeder bike. And that had, I prefer third person. I prefer third person, especially since half of like the achievements and rewards in this game are all cosmetics for your character.
That's crazy.
Yeah. What if it's first person only? What do I care about? It's invisible. It's so I didn't really understand character cosmetics in a first person only game. I guess when you jump on your little speeder bike, you can kind of see your character a little bit for a second while you're speeding around. Because you can even customize your character's hairstyle, things like that. So I guess you see it in a cutscene. I don't know what the purpose of that is. Visually, as you mentioned, Sema, cell shading. They are best in class masters of it. And that's always been what's been most impressive to me, is making this art style really, really shine. It is not easy to do from an art style perspective. It's something that you do have to put extra work into. There is an easy mode way of doing cell shading. You can do it all with post-processing. And post-processing is sort of an engine layer that takes a look at a rendered scene and draws on top of it, kind of each frame, it draws a little bit on top of it. So like the black outlines that are outlined around every bit of the geometry, you could do all of that with just post-processing. It would only look okay. Now they've taken it to a whole nother level, because it's a combination of post-processing plus what they've done with the inherent textures of the game and the tuning of how all of their models work. It works out really, really well. So that's always fun. I wanted to live in that world a little bit, so that was a fun reason to get Borderlands 4 as well. But yeah, the final point is performance. So the game right now on Steam is mixed. It's mixed reviews. And the reason it's mixed reviews, people say it's mixed reviews because of performance problems. I think it's actually mixed reviews because of somewhat of bugs and performance problems, but the other half of it is Randy Pitchford, the CEO of Gearbox, making comments that's making all of the people who do leave reviews give it the thumbs down because Randy's being a jerk about it.
Yeah.
When I had no problems whatsoever. I noticed no performance problems. I have a nice beefy graphics card though. So I'm, granted, if you have a lower end graphics card, maybe there are very serious performance problems. And people, if you look at some of the videos out there, they're saying, yes, there are. They're saying it. And they're saying what people who are running on like a 1080p, 1080 graphics card on 1920 by 1080, a NVIDIA, or even a 3000 series. I don't want to go back all the way down to a 10 series. 3000 series, nice video cards, but maybe they're, a few years old or so, 5 years old, 6 years old. It performs very poorly. It has lower frames and per second, and it does frame drops here and there. If anybody's crashing, and in theory, there are people that are having crashes, I think it's very rare. I experienced none of it. I only played for hours, not days. But even reviewers were saying, yeah, in my first 5 hours, I crashed twice. I didn't crash at all. It seemed perfectly fine to me. If you're crashing, you can complain about that. If you can't play the game because you can't see the enemies, because it's, the stuttering to the point where things are rubber banding across the screen, that's really bad. You should definitely complain about that and return the game. However, there's also a part of this whole performance debate that I've watched a few of the videos now explaining the performance problems, and I almost feel like it's merely an opportunity for the experts in graphical performance to ply their trade. And they're not wrong, but every one of the videos that I've seen so far that's talked about the performance problems has had to do it with meters up on the screen showing how many milliseconds and the millisecond render rate and the frames per second. And it's mostly like these flat graphs where then it, do you see this, 0.3 millisecond addition to the frames at here? It's not even like the frame rate's dropping to 0 or you're getting a stutter in that way. It's that it's no longer at 100 frames. It's like dropped down to 70 frames. Did you see that spike where it dropped down to 70 frames from 100 frames? That's because of them doing optimization badly. And I'm watching these videos and he's saying, "Oh, did you see that? Did you see that hitch? Did you see that hitch?" And I'm saying, "No, I didn't." And I even rewound the video, and it's a YouTube video too, so maybe you can't see it in the YouTube video. And the YouTube video is maxed out at he might have only done it in 30 frames a second or 60 frames a second. You might not be able to see these hitches.
Right.
But he's a couple of them, they were describing the performance hitch and saying it out loud, specifically because I think they realize that people aren't going to be able to see what they're talking about. So they have to say what's happening because you can't see it. And if that's the level of performance that you're saying is trash, like here, so I've got one of these charts up on the screen. So if you look at the frame rate chart on the left, it's completely flat, or it's to me it looks great. It's 90 to 100 frames per second, and it's a nice kind of smooth line on the left. But then if you look at the right, the frame time, you will see once in a while there'll be a frame time dip here and there.
Right.
It doesn't drop the entire frame rate, and it doesn't. But it's a micro stutter where if you've got a super trained eye, then you will notice these micro stutters. And they do have a good explanation for what the micro stutters are. And I completely believe it because there's two ways to deal with the textures and effects in the game. It's any modern game that you play right now, you'll have shaders compiling when you launch the game. And what that's doing is behind the scenes, it's loading up every one of the textures in the game and potentially every one of the effects, or maybe not every single one, but most of them, and allowing the graphics card and the graphics engine to cache a compiled version of that shader that allows the GPU to render it very quickly. Now, what they're suggesting is they didn't do enough of that when they're compiling shaders at the beginning of launch of the game, so that when you get some of these frame time spikes where it's 0.3 milliseconds instead of 0.16 milliseconds, or 16 milliseconds, it's 36 milliseconds instead of 16 milliseconds, that's because one of their shaders wasn't precompiled. And did you see when I killed that guy the first time and that effect came out? Well, that's when they didn't precompile that shader, and that's what's causing those extra 20 milliseconds for that frame. It's like, fine, okay, you found it, you did it, you found the space where those extra 20 milliseconds for that frame were getting loaded into the engine. I don't see it. Now, Forster's saying hitching like that would be annoying. If you can see, so if you've got a trained eye where if you're running at 100 frames per second and every once in a while you'll drop a frame out of 100, if that's would be annoying to you to be dropping one frame out of 100 or two frames out of 100, then yes, maybe you're going to be annoyed by that. But I have trouble even seeing the difference between 30 and 60 frames a second. It's, yes, as you're turning the camera and smoothness, I'm talking about in gameplay. When you're playing the game and one game was 30 frames a second, one game was 60 frames a second, one game was 100 frames per second. After you get into it and you play it for a while, you can get used to anything. Like I'm playing Abiotic Factor where everything's like 16 colors and 20 pixels on the screen, and it's running at 30 frames a second, and everybody loves it. It's fine. It works perfectly fine. There's just an expectation that's slightly different. And if you are an expert and train yourself to see 2 frames dropped out of 100, then yes, you're going to be quite annoyed, and you can call this game trash and problematic as a result. I don't think it really is, though. I guess that's my point. It's hard. It's a hard discussion.
It is hard. It's different audiences too. Like I keep thinking of this analogy where I don't really listen to metal.
Right.
But there's all different subgenres of metal. Like I would not hear the difference between Norwegian death metal and Swedish death metal. But somebody who's really into metal, they might be days apart.
Yes.
And it's sort of like I do not look at games. I mean, if I feel a hitch, that's one thing. But I'm pretty sure I wouldn't detect this. And plus, I play games that sometimes lock up for a second.
Right. Star Wars The Old Republic does it constantly.
Yeah. Right.
Doesn't matter how high your graphics card is.
I'm a different kind of player. I'm like, oh, that's annoying, but I go on.
Yeah. And you don't even see it anymore.
Right.
If you train yourself to see it, I think you're going to put yourself in a position where you are going to be annoyed by these kinds of things. And these experts are absolutely right and trained.
It's your hobby. It's your hobby seeing those things too.
Is it the hobby, and do the 50% of reviewers giving it a thumbs down on Steam, are they really all graphical experts that can see that 2 frames out of 100 that are getting dropped here and there? Or are they watching the videos and annoyed with Randy Pitchford and saying,
well, I'm annoyed with Randy Pitchford.
UE is garbage.
Like Forster said, hitching like that would be annoying. It's like hitching like what though? Like I don't even see the hitching, but he's obviously referring to something that you would see and experience. So
yep,
I think there's a gap, but yeah, without a doubt, content creators do pile on.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. Is I expect some of this is content creators piling on. So Forster, you're saying you get motion sickness from games that the FPS is too low.
But the FPS on at least the first graph was like over 90. Is that low?
Right. Solid. And the
Like,
hitch is, again, it was, you have 16 milliseconds. If you're trying to make sure that you stay, it's not even dropping below 90. So yeah, it's tough. There's other things that
yeah, right.
make my,
Right.
like, I'll get more motion sickness depending on field of view and the camera depth. Those kinds of things will cause more problems for me than frame rate. Where I think you could have a well done, I bet you could have a really well done, narrower field of view, 30 frame per second game and still probably be okay, Forrester. It's these first person games though, it's more of a problem with first person games than when they're very fast. So I just am.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. Like everything I play really is third person in most cases.
Yeah. So we'll see where this goes and how they fix it. They've already put out one patch that tries to fix some of this. It's an interesting debate because it's also, there's just a lot of glomming on also. People will constantly, and on half of the reviews and the forum discussions and the reviews on Steam, I'll also say, another example of Unreal Engine being garbage. Unreal Engine is not garbage. Go play Fortnite and tell me Unreal Engine is garbage. Go play one of the most popular, fast-paced games in the world, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Claire
Or
Obscure
against-
Expedition 33 is garbage. People are saying that it's graphically it's garbage because it's built on Unreal Engine, and I don't see it. But that's just me.
So maybe the way to read those things is just pass over them, because obviously the person isn't coming from a place of knowledge.
I think you can train yourself to so Saturn in the chat room is also saying the tech is outpacing some of the older cards. That's definitely true too.
Yeah.
And I also kind of don't have a problem with that. I mean, I remember the old days of a new game, like everyone had to buy a new graphics card every time a new, every time a new game came, the big game release of the year came out, and everybody who wanted to play that game had to buy a new graphics card. This is going back 10 years ago.
And it's more than just tech outstripping them. It's it's everything that happens on a graphics card, because like I had my 1050 forever and it was fine for Star Wars: The Old Republic, but even for Star Wars: The Old Republic, it was starting to get behind an artifact and stuff. And that was not because of new tech.
Right.
That was just because of more demands. People figure out ways to make it more demanding, I guess.
Yep.
Plus Windows in the background being more demanding and all this stuff.
If the game doesn't work for you, the game doesn't work for you.
Right.
But be careful as a person who wants to have fun with games. I guess this is my summary. As a person who wants to enjoy games, be careful training yourself to only see perfection in any aspect of the game. If you're an audiophile, you're going to have very limited numbers of recording media that are going to be acceptable to you, and you're going to hate Spotify. And if you're an audiophile and you don't hate Spotify, then you're not. But you could train yourself to hate everything and anything because you understand the engineering of the top possible level of perfect quality.
Do you remember
you're gonna break yourself?
When there was a Blockbuster,
and
other stores where you would rent videos,
yeah,
and you would like, I'm gonna stop by and get a movie to watch tonight, and then you'd be like in there for like an hour because you'd be like, no, I don't feel like a movie with that person. No, I don't feel like this genre. No, that one was no black and white movies tonight. It's sort of like you just talk yourself out of every movie for an hour.
Yes. Yeah. So check yourself before you wreck your own experience of anything.
Yeah.
Or just be careful of it and just expect that there are going to be very few games that you're going to be satisfied with ever again. If you train yourself so that you can see those 2 frames out of 100 that are dropped. Or do whatever you want. All right. I think that's enough for today.
That too. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. That's it. All the feed and subscribe links are on newoverlords.com and our videos up on YouTube/newoverlords. Please come chat with us in our Discord at newoverlords.com/Discord. And you can also follow on all the social networks and we'll keep you up to date there too. And with that, we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.